Starting to see a conspiracy been fooling me when I watch TV. Their manufactured views all over the news. It's giving me the blues, and it's time to choose. Starting to wake up from this sleep, from all the lies they spread that run so deep. But I will laze no more. Who are they fighting for? It isn't me. But now I see there is a new world order, but we're not invited. So much blood and murder from the drones unsighted. World War III is haunting me. I've got to find a way to save my family. The human race has lost its way. We put our trust in science, but it's us who pay. Used to be civilized, but we've been compromised. We're on a one-way train. We've got to break this chain. Starting to see that we should be free. The powers that be want a piece of me. Should I do what they say or tell them go away? What is the price for freedom? 'Cause it sure ain't free. The time has come to raise the bar. There'll be nowhere to hide if there's a third world war. So let your voice be heard and let your heart decide to stand and fight for freedom while you've still got time. Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up. Stand, stand up. Stand up, stand up. Wake up, wake up. The time has come to fight. Wake up, wake up. Don't waste another night. Stand up. What are you waiting for? Stand up, stand up. Oh, they're gonna soon be at your door.
Good evening and welcome to Raconteurs After Dark. It's After Dark on a Friday night, and hey, yeah, I'm looking at it. I've got this new setup in here. I've put a new webcam in, and my mic's all hooked up and everything, and all my mixers back on as well. Whereas I was just using before, I was just using my I was just using. Hang on, just a second. Oh, there we go. I was just using my my internal mic on the laptop, so it's just a bit of a test tonight. Bit of a test. We thought we'd come on and do an hour as Adie's just got back. A few things we want to tell you and a few things we want to talk about tonight. Just first of all, I know that Robert Lunn says that that you will read my message, but good evening and hello. So good evening to you as well, Robert Lunn. So there you go. We did read your message. Anyway, what we got tonight? Well, tonight we're just going to have a bit of a chat. I'm just trying this new setup as it is, and making sure that that everything's working in the way that I want it to work and stuff. So and Adie's back as well, but he's a bit knackered, he's a bit jet lagged, and he's a bit. Well, I would imagine you're a bit grumpy as well. First day back at work, first or second day back at work. But Adie, good evening, mate, and welcome back. How have you been?
Yeah, well, I've been awesome, but oh god, yeah, like you say, I'm just my brain crashed about 2 hours ago, and my body, which you can see far too much of, because there's far too much of it, crashed about. Is ready to crash. So yeah, thanks for coming on a bit earlier tonight, mate. Yeah, had a great time. A couple of interesting things happened, and yeah, all good. Apologies for you looking at my nose tonight. It's just that I can't even be asked to switch on my big mic and my laptop and my mixer and everything. So I'm literally just running off a headset and my tablet. So if I don't sound as good as I normally do, and look even worse than I normally do, my apologies.
Well, mate, listen, we're just glad to have you back. It's been a turbulent few weeks since you went away, and many things have happened. But what I suppose you've been a bit isolated over there, haven't you? Really, or you've just been hanging out rather than looking at the news.
A little bit. I mean, I still sort of try and listen to a lot of the podcasts that I subscribe to. And funnily enough, some of them, because I've had people interview other people that I'm subscribed to, I've got halfway through some podcasts and thought, I'm sure I've heard this yesterday, because I'm subscribed to both people who do part of the interview, the interviewer and the interviewee. So I've done that. Whenever I go abroad, I always try and I actually end up watching BBC World Service, and I have to say, what a load of utter shite. It's worse than BBC News that we'd normally watch, but the World Service is just it's just a different angle that they look at everything from, and it comes over in some kind of naive way, and I can't even describe it. But listen, most people have watched that anyway, so you probably get a grasp of what I'm talking about. And I always make a point of watching whatever American news is on. And Fox News, mate, my God, it's a while since I actually sat and watched it, and I didn't watch it for long because it's just I actually thought it was a comedy. I thought it was a sketch. You do because it comes across like I don't know, like it's not real. Well,
Like
I know it's not real. Yeah, I mean, I know it's not real, but it's just like it's a comedy script that's been written, or it's just, and everything on it is he's so biased. I mean, beyond belief biased. So, anyway, I had a couple of interesting things happened to me. One of the funnier ones was when we were not far from landing on late on Wednesday evening back into Birmingham Airport. It was only a short hop flight that I'd done from Amsterdam, because my main flight was Bangkok to Amsterdam coming home. And the pilot said, "Ladies and gentlemen, if you look out of the window, that grey thing is called England." And apparently it's been raining here for 40 days and 40 nights.
Well, did you not like stand up and say, "Well, can you drop me off here then, please?" Instead of taking me to Amsterdam.
Yeah. No, that was when we were leaving Amsterdam and coming back to England. So I just wish could have just turned me around and took me back, because it was beautiful and sunny in Amsterdam when we left. So.
Well, to be honest,
anyway,
you came back. It weren't too bad here. It were really nice. I mean, Danielle, myself and Danielle went to Coast for a weekend a couple of weeks ago, and she got really badly burnt, and we're peeling and all sorts of different stuff. So, we up until this last week, it's been pretty decent weather here as well.
Cool. I did listen to a little bit of some of the RN stuff that you did, because of course while I was still out there, at that point I was still getting notifications. So I mean, when you were on, it was like early hours of the morning for me, because of 6 hours ahead in Thailand. So I did hear some of it, but I have to say most of what I heard didn't sound very good, because I was completely soaked in alcohol by that time, and I can't remember a word that was said. But I did listen to some, and a couple of times I did go in the chat room for a few minutes.
Well, it's funny because the guy that we had on last on Monday, Matt Sergio, right up your street, talking about music and stuff like that, and influence, stuff about 60s. A really good interview. So if you've not watched that, it's Matt Sergio is somebody I've known for a number of years online. I've never actually met him. But he had a really good knowledge, and he had really good stuff about Beatles, and he was talking about what is the art movement? What art movement? Some art movement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, I would do if my brain weren't fried, but yeah.
Yeah, that way they have a nose on side of the head and two eyes on other side of the head and all that sort of shit. That
Excuse me. Yeah. Did I know? I rang you and I told you about my incident at the airport going out. Did you mention that?
I did, but I did say that it's probably best to get you to recite the story rather than me. But I give him the gist.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I go through an airport, I have to go incredibly early because I know that they're going to say, "Oh, you're the one that's been chosen to go through the scanner," and I'm thinking, "Fuck off! You're putting every cunt through." You know. So anyway, because they stand there and wave you through the scanner, and I just stand there and shake my head and I go, "I'm sorry, no, I decline." And then it's, well, it is mandatory. No, it's not. It's illegal. Oh, well, you've got to go through the scanner. No, I haven't. It's not up to you what I do with my body. Well, it's perfectly safe. Yes, so were cigarettes in 1960s. You know, and no matter, well, we can get you all the paperwork that proves, paperwork doesn't prove anything. You can't tell me that I've got to go through that scanner, so I'm politely declining. I am not getting in your scanner.
And of course, they're illegal in the EU.
Yeah. So, although they have got them in Amsterdam airport, but I'll tell you about that as well in a minute. So, I stand there. By this time, of course, my bag with all my little bit of hand luggage that I take has now gone through its X-ray scanner and it's sitting on a tray for anybody to steal. But they won't let me go anywhere near my equipment, my property. So they said, "Oh, you'll have to wait there then. We're going to have to get a supervisor." And I went, "Okay." And of course, they're then saying, "Well, you know, you're delaying yourself. If you just get in the scanner, it'll be all much quicker." And I just said, "Well, you're still not selling it to me, so just forget that." And there was a guy sort of stood to my right who I didn't particularly notice because he sort of got his back to me. And I was getting a bit pissed off that my tray with all my goods in it was like, you know, people were walking past it and I didn't have control of it. So I started to walk over to it and they went, "No, you must wait there." I went, "Oh, must I? I want my property." And, well, you'll have to wait. So then I thought, okay, in for a penny. I require my property right now. And the guy that had been stood to my right sort of turned round and went, "This way, sir." I went, "Sorry? This way, come with me, get your property and follow me." "Oh, right, okay." And he was sort of late 20s, maybe early 30s. Nice guy. And then following me, I'd got an older guy, I don't know, mid 40s. But the younger guy was clearly in charge and he said, he sort of took me to one side. He said, "Do you want to tell me why you don't get in the scanner?" I said, "Well, I could give you 100 reasons, but we wouldn't agree with anything. So we wouldn't even agree on what the question was, let alone what the answer is. So it's just easier to say, no, I decline. I'm happy for you to do a search or whatever, you know, whatever you want to do." He says, "Oh, well, we need to go in a private room." And I went, "Look, if you're just going to pat me down, you don't need to go in a private room. Just do it here. I'm not bothered." And he said, no, we need to go in a private room." Now, when we got into this little private room, there's these two guys there and they're saying, you know, "We're going to do this and you've got to read this card. This is what's going to happen, yada, yada, yada. And you've got to fill in this box why you won't get in the scanner." So I went, "No, I haven't." I said, "I haven't got to do anything. I haven't got to let you pat me down. But I'm aware that, you know, an airline might refuse me access to the flight that I've paid for if I don't, but I haven't got to do anything." So I just wrote in the box, "Decline." So she said, "Right, okay then." He said, but the older guy was sort of looking at me and smiling. And it wasn't sort of any, there was no, it was just them doing their job and me trying to be as pleasant as I could be, but not Not being aggressive, definitely not. But just wanted to get whatever done so I could get on my way. But there's no way I was going to get in the fucking scanner. Anyway, the older guy just kind of looked at me and sort of smiling. And I looked at him and I said, why do I get the feeling that I'm not being told everything here? And he said, what do you believe about the scanners? I said, well, one, I don't consent to being irradiated. I said, but it's the whole system. It's complete bollocks. I said, for my opinion, everybody should refuse to get in the scanner. He said, well, the airport had ground to a halt. I said, exactly. And then once it had ground to a halt and everybody had said no to the system, I said, then they'd do something about the fucking ridiculous situation you've got. Because it's nothing about stopping terrorism. It's about making us feel afraid, like we need to be protected. And we don't. Only from the bloody stupid politicians. And at that point, I thought, okay, rant over, shut up, Adrian. So the older guy said, well, and he used this guy's first name, I can't remember what it was. He said, if you think that you're and he used the words conspiracy theorist. I said, well, I wouldn't use that. He said, let's call him Matt. He said, Matt is 10 times what you are. And I went, I bet he's not. So I looked at him and I just said, what about the Federal Reserve? And I said, the creature from Jekyll Island. And he said, G. Edward Griffin. And I thought, shit, this kid knows his stuff. And I said, so, you know, you understand how money comes in? He said, yeah. And there was some other one that I don't think it was, but I think it was a 9/11 one. And let's say it was in plain sight, you know, Dave Von Kleist. And then he opened up my passport and he read my name and he just said, Raconteurs News. And I went, ooh. And you know, when you get that tingle down your spine. So either he was somebody who happens to listen, and if you're listening, good evening, can't remember your name, but you're a dead nice bloke. Or, you know, we're on a watch list. Either way, I don't give a shit, but, you know. But that's what happened, so. Yeah, but dead nice bloke, you know, nothing, just get there doing his job. But what I did say to him was, and I don't want to get anybody into any trouble, did you know what you know now before you started this job? And he said, no. I found out afterwards. And I just said, yeah, I used to work in the finance industry. And then I found out all this stuff, so I just left. And he just kind of, you know, did the pleasant handshake thing and off we went. So, yeah. You might want to turn your microphone back on, Jason. Oh, no, your mic's definitely gone off. No. No, it's definitely still me. I can't hear you, pal. No, can't hear you, mate. Anyway, let me tell you the second bit. While you're trying to sort that out, I'll just tell you this, the second bit. No, still can't hear you, mate. When I came back through from Amsterdam to Birmingham, I'd landed at Amsterdam airport on a Bangkok flight, and they said on that flight that we wouldn't have to go through security again. I'm thinking, great, don't have to fuck about with scanners and all that bollocks again. So when we get off, we're straight into the security hall. And I'm thinking, what's all that about? They told us we didn't have to go through the scanner. So there they are, all the sheep are lining up, you know, for the scanner. And Grandad's there with his grandson, shuffling this 6-year-old kid into the scanner to stand there like a big starfish, you know. And I'm thinking, yeah, go on, teach him to be a fucking sheep. There we go, Jason, you're back on.
Am I back on?
You're back on. Anyway, so
It's not, is it?
no, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah, it is that.
Okay.
It is your big mic. Anyway, that's what tonight was all about anyway, testing your kit rather than listening to me drivel on about shit. But anyway, so then, of course, so they were the big scanner, and I just went, he stood there trying to wave me in, and I went, no, thank you. First thing he said, sir, you may miss your connecting flight. And I said, how do you know? You don't know where I'm going or what time it leaves. Because they just want to do anything to get you in and out. And I went, oh, no, it's all right, mate. So he said, okay, you'll have to take your shoes and socks off. So I'm there with a walking stick, and I just lifted my trousers up a little bit, and I went, crack on then, and help yourself. And I made him take me. Bearing in mind, I've just done a 12.5-hour flight from Bangkok. My feet were not smelling good. You know what I'm saying? You know, they were a bit ripe. Don't matter how many cans of deodorant you can spray, and they're still not good after 12 hours. So I made him take my shoes off, and then he did the patting down thing. And the dirty bastard never even put any gloves on. So I've been molested by a dirty Dutchman. So that's one to knock off my bucket list. So it's not just a case of they're asking the odd person to get in the scanner. It's just like an automatic, you know, and all the sheep go through. And when I'm stood there going, no thanks. No, I'm not going in there, mate. All other people are looking at me like I'm some kind of fucking alien that's stopping them going about their day. You know, so I always kind of make a point of, you know, just saying, look, I'm not getting in that thing. You know, I'm just not getting in it, and I haven't got to, and I'm not.
No, well, I mean, I've been saying, I was saying with Emmy years ago when we went on holiday, and she were just a kid, and she went before me, and I said to her, you know, I think in Manchester Airport at that time, it used to be.
It's like a sliding door thing, isn't it?
Yeah, so one had opened.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'd said to her, I said, if that one opens, you don't go in. You just don't go in. And I had a bit of a to-do with him, but there were no way she was going in. You know, there was no way she was going in there, and I weren't going in there. So it's ridiculous. It's all about. It's not anything about security. It's not anything at all to do with security. It's to get people compliant. You do not ask. And that's what people do. They don't ask. Nobody asks. Nobody asks. Nobody says, "Oh, do I have to go through this? What are the dangers of this? Have you got a leaflet on this or something?"
That was the other thing. When you come back into Birmingham Airport, there's the usual fucking daisy chain of like being at Alton Towers to queue up to go through the automatic thing where they want to scan your iris and all that lot. So I don't go in there. I always go down because I got a walking stick, I always go down the priority route thing, which being a spaz means I don't have to pay for it. And sort of at 90 degrees to the automatic barriers where you can go through with your passport, at passport control, there's a row of somewhere between 6 and 8 desks where the immigration officer sits and checks your passport and lets you in. So there's a woman sat on a chair telling you which one to go to. And she saw in my hand that, well, there was like 2. Had there have been a queue, and there wasn't, it was just me, there was like 2 exit points from 2 different queues, right? And she sat in this chair in the middle. So if you can imagine, there's like these 3 spaces, each as big as a chair. I'm on the right-hand side, the chair's in the middle, and then there's another one on the left-hand side. And she happened to notice that I'd got a British passport. So she said, "Oh, British passport, you were in the wrong queue." And I said, "They're in a queue." She said, "You should be in this queue," and pointed to the gap that was on her left-hand side. And I went, 3 feet ain't going to make no difference to me, mate. And that, it just shows you how indoctrinated they are, because there was nobody, and when I say nobody, there was fucking me. That was it. Everybody else had gone through the automatic scan your iris, stick your fingerprints, and and I'm like, fuck off, I'm not going in that. I'd just gone down the spaz bit down the side, so I didn't have to walk through all the daisy chain. And there was me there, nobody else. And she went, "You're in the wrong queue. Get better fucking signposts then," I'm thinking. And then, of course, you just go in, the guy checks your passport, shoots you through, job done. But it is just about making you feel like you've got to be compliant, like you need to be scared, there's something to be afraid of, and then there's somebody going to look after you to make sure that no...
It's like that in everything in life, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just...
It's just everywhere in life. It's all about fear, and it's all about, if you don't comply, or they'll even try to persuade you, like you said. They're trying to persuade you by saying you're going to be late. You're going to be fucking late. I'm not going to be late. I'll get on that plane. If I don't get on that plane, I get compensation from you cunts for holding me up, because I was getting my rights. I was exercising my rights to say no. And by the way, even your fucking laws said that these scanners are illegal. Anything like that. It's all about complying, and it doesn't matter. If you like you say, did you carry the piece of paper with the actual on it?
Yeah, when I travel abroad, I always have a what do you call it? A memory card with all my documents on it, because you never know, What I also then have is a laminated copy of the main page of my passport in my pocket, and I also photocopy and laminate the inside front cover of my passport. And if you hang on a minute, maybe still got it, because I've not even unpacked my bag properly yet. I don't even know where my fucking passport is. Hang on a minute. Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is what I have. A laminated of the inside front cover. And I gave it to one of the young guys, and this is when he said, "Oh, you're delaying yourself." And I said, "Have you read that?" And he went, "Yes, I have." I said, "Oh, go on then, read it. Just recite it to me." And he went, "Pardon?" I said, "Well, if you've read it, recite it to me." "Well, I can't." I went, "I'll read it to you." "You don't need to." And I went, No, I do need to. And this is what it says. Her Britannic Majesty's Secretary of State requests and requires, there's that word, I require, requires, in the name of Her Majesty, Beryl, all those whom it may concern, to allow the bearer to pass freely without let or hindrance, and to afford the bearer such assistance and protection as may be necessary. That is what it says on the inside of every EU passport. Okay? And all he said was, "That's irrelevant." I said, "Oh, just take a fucking page out of my passport then, shall I?" Because it's not a passport, it's a port pass. Is
that like a dolphin?
What? That's a porpoise. Cock. Yeah, so, and it's just about being compliant. And I was, where was I coming back from? It was probably when I was coming back from the States. I had a guy who was ex-military, as is everybody male in the States, almost. "Thank you for your service." No, stay at home and stop fucking fighting, silly cunt. And he refused to get in the scanner as well. And he clearly had realised that what he thought he'd gone into the military for was not what was actually going on in the military. And he'd got a serious fuck the system head. So there was both of us in the States saying no together, which is quite interesting. So, yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's we've not even got to Thailand yet, have we? The only thing is, I would take from this little interaction that we've had so far. Although I've just been looking on camera, it looks like I'm growing a Hitler tash. I might do that. Grow a Hitler tash. You know what I mean? See what I see? Yeah. But anyway, whatever you want to do, it's a hindrance. But for you, right, just I know what you're doing, and I know why you're doing it, and I understand why you're doing it. But when you've got a family that you're taking along as well, and all they're doing is going, "Oh, Dad, just let it go, just leave it," or Jason.
No, you can't. You can't.
Can you? No, that's the thing. But people do give in to some pressure from the kids. I'm trying to look at camera so I look like we're on telly. Well, we are on telly, aren't we? It's YouTube.
Well, when I came back from where was we flying out? Los Angeles, when I'd done Route 66 a few years ago. That was when my ex got in this scanner, did the big starfish thing, regular, and was stood there giving me absolute looks of dagger when I went, mate, I'm not getting your scanner. And then she didn't speak to me on the flight home at all, not a word, nothing.
I remember you actually doing Route 66. I think it's something that me and you should think about doing. We should do Route 66 in some of the, two of them little blue disabled handicap cars.
Yeah, but what's going to happen when we get to the States where your handlebars can't be any higher than that? or the ones where you can't smoke weed? What's going to happen then? We're going to be fucked.
Well, yeah, exactly. But we'll just stay in ones that you can smoke weed, or we'll just smoke it in the car. I was going to say before, when Mike decided to fuck up, I wanted to say hello to people in chat room. Uni Black Sisters over there, and he says his question was, oh god, fucking hell. He was saying, so you don't have to go through the scanners at airports. Now, Uni Black is in Washington, so he's in America. So we don't know what the situation is in America. This is it's
well, you don't
where they have been deemed illegal.
Well, when I came back through, when I flew out from, hang on, where did it go from? Yeah, we did Manchester to. Or did we? Yeah, Manchester to Chicago. And when we flew out from Manchester, nobody asked us to get in a scanner, so it weren't an hassle. Obviously, when you land in Chicago, you haven't got to go through a scanner. And then we drove across America. So it was when we were leaving Los Angeles. And I just stood there and I went, no. And he go, oh, good. He said, I'll give me something better to do. So the guy was actually pleased that he'd got something more interesting to do, than just wave people through the scanner. So you definitely don't have to go through them. And they had a word for it. It says, oh, so you're a abstainer or something like that. I can't remember what label he stuck on me. And I went, mate, you can call me what you want. I'm just not getting in your scanner. And he just said, why not? I went, I don't have to tell you why not, but politely I decline. They're not for the reason they state. So I choose not to, and I don't believe they're safe. And he said, well, they are. And I said, well, so were cigarettes in 1960s. Exactly the same. And he just nodded and said, step this way, sir. And he was dead polite, lovely bloke, black guy, really, really decent kid. But, just doing it. It's an horrible thing to say, the guy's just doing his job. But, the guy was just doing his job. What can you say?
Well, yeah, he's a victim. He's a victim just as much as anybody else. He's a victim of his circumstances. If he says anything, he's going to lose his job, which might means he'll lose his house and his perhaps his family, if he's got a family, a mortgage, loans, and all that sort of thing. You've got to take that into consideration. I know. Sorry, I do apologise. I've got a bit of a coughing because I think that I put too much weed in that joint. Not that I smoke weed or smoke joints. I used
you do, you lying bastard.
I used to. I still do, but I used to. So if they're victims as well, And I think sometimes we can be a bit harsh, although when it comes to coppers, I just haven't got any.
No, I ain't anymore.
You know, I mean, when you get airport security, I know a kid who there's a kid who our mates with when we were really good mates actually. I even when my mum and dad kicked me out when I was about 14, I even stopped at his house. His mum, his dad was dead, but his mum took me in, and we were really good mates. And he was always dead army, you know, and he were always like this, wanted to go in army, and I think he did his 6 weeks training, and then came out because he couldn't hack it, and then I think a number of years later he went in the RAF as a military policeman.
Oh, right, okay.
And I know he's out now, but he works on security at Manchester Airport. And the last time I had any contact with him, I was talking about how the risk of terrorism was like overblown, and you know it were all fucking. And he's saying, "Oh no, there is a risk. I've worked in security all my life. I know all that, this and all that." And I've not spoken to him since. All I said were it's just all lies, and it's all there to frighten you, which it is. I mean, we've seen it, haven't we? We've seen it frighten you all the time. Seen it frighten people.
But if you think about it, Jason, before a child is, it's like 3 or 4 years of age now. They go to some kind of preschool, and some of them might even still be in nappies, these kids who are going to preschool or whatever, but you know, that's how young it is now. And then within a couple of years they start, you know, proper school, and then they've got 12 years of somebody telling them what is, what isn't, what's right, what's wrong, what to believe, what not to believe, when to piss, when to shit, when to stick their hand in the air, what to agree with, what not to agree with, what time they can arrive, what time they can go home. You know, and so from the youngest age possible, they're just being, you know, the big fucking cloud comes over, and that is what they're designed to see. You know, they're 2 years old and they can see that much, everything. And by the time they're 4 or 5 years old, that is what they're allowed to see. That's what they're allowed to believe, and that's what they're being told. They're just being told such a narrow version of life, if you like. And just being indoctrinated into, this is when you can do that, this is when you can do that, this is what time you're going to eat, this is what time, and it's just this indoctrination into this system. And then 12 years later, at the other end, out pops an employee, at best.
Yeah.
Because all they're teaching you to be is a tax-paying employee. There's hardly any kids now come out with the idea of, well, I'm going to be a self-employed builder, plumber, and well, I'm going to be a plumber, I'll go work for somebody else. You know, or I'm going to be a...
You might think that this is sort of like people that are innocent and just doing the job, and I completely agree that they are. I'll give you an example. I'm going to give this example. I weren't going to talk about this tonight, but I'm going to give this example. As you know, I did a show on Monday night, and on Tuesday, I went to have my INR done, to test my blood to make sure that it's within range, you know, so it's not too thick and it's not too thin. And so I went along, and I just happened to mention that I'd got this this problem with my foot. I don't need to tell you which foot. But I got this problem with my foot, and I said, look, it's, and I have said on this show, I told you the story about the dream I had. Adi, I don't know if I told you this story. Let me tell you.
Go on, quick.
Tell you this again. Let me just tell this. I don't know if you heard this one, but I had a dream a couple of weeks ago. A really vivid dream, and I was in the hospital ward where I had my leg amputated. Right.
Right.
So I'm in there for some reason, and I have got my leg amputated in this scenario. And next on the bed next to me, there's a bloke that's got both of his legs, right? And this is honestly, this is a dream I had, and it was so surreal. Anyway, this guy comes in who's got no legs and he's in a wheelchair, and he goes up to the end of the bed of the guy that's in the bed next to me, and he says to him, he says, "Is it your first one?" And he says, "Yeah." Yeah, it's my first one. He says, you can always tell because, you know, you've got two legs. You know, usually you can tell because you've got two legs. And so then this guy goes, so do you know what you're having? And he says, "Oh, no. Being my first one, I've decided, we've decided that we wanted to be surprised. Do you know what I mean?" He says, "I know that's." That's sort of. Oh, yeah. The guy says, do you know what we're having, left or right?" And he says, "No, well, no. Could we be first one? Wanted it to be a surprise." So it's like a maternity ward that we're on. And
Awesome.
and he's saying, "What he says, I know that it causes problems because people don't know whether to buy you a right slipper or a left slipper, or to bring your right slipper or your left slipper. So I brought them both, and I did all this, and this guy says, well, this is my second, so I decided I'd know what it were going to be. You know, it was just fucking surreal. And I'm watching this scenario, and then, like I said, I did a show Monday. Then on Tuesday, I went to doctors, had my INR, and I just mentioned to the nurse that I got this problem with my foot. Now, I'd had anxiety about this because I recognise some pains that I'm getting. So I went along, and I said to the nurse, I said, "Look, I just want to." I said, because when she said, "Is there anything that might have?" Let me dog in. Just let me dog in. You talk a minute.
I'll talk about Jason letting his dog in. Yeah, if anybody thinks that this is scripted, my God, you wouldn't write shit like this, would you? What scenario?
Yes.
Here we go.
Right. So I go to doctors. So it's a nurse, and I just said I've been taking lots of painkillers because I've got this problem with my toe. It's gone all purple. And I'm having pains when I'm in bed on this toe. So she says, "Okay," and she writes stuff down, and then she sends a message to a doctor that's next door, and this doctor comes in. So she has a look at my toe, and she says, "Oh, I'm not happy with this, and I need to get doctor to have a look." So anyway, doctor comes in, and they say they want to. The doctor comes in, and the doctor has a look at it, and she says, "I think it's critical ischemia." So what we're going to do is we're going to ring up the cardiovascular ward and see if we can get somebody to see you. So anyway, I do my INR, come on, it's all good. I come home, and then about sometime in the afternoon, nurse rings me again. She says, has the hospital rung you? And I said, no, hospital's not rung me, no. And she says, "Oh, well, I've been on to them. I'll get on to them again because they said they were going to ring you. They were going to said they were going to see you today. They were going to get a consultant to see you today." So I said, "Okay." Anyway, went through the rest of the day. It gets to 6 o'clock, and this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about procedures that people have that they can't move themselves away from, and that no common sense is allowed. So at 6 o'clock that night, I get a phone call from, and they say it's Firth 2, which is down at Northern General, the ward, the cardiovascular ward. And so they say, "Okay, Mr. Holmes," and yeah, I said, "We've got a bed ready for you. Your bed's ready." And so I say, "Well, I don't need a bed. I just need someone to look at it. That's all." All right. Do we know regard?
Yeah, go on.
No,
you there?
Call me or something.
No, go on.
Oh yeah, so they said they've got a bed ready for me. I said, don't need a bed. I just need to come down and have someone take a look at it. And so they said, oh well, we were told that it was an urgent referral and all this sort of shit. So they said, can you come down tomorrow at 10 o'clock? So I went down on. What are you doing? Are you doing origami?
No, why?
I could just hear loads of rattling about, like paper folding.
Sorry, mate. Go on, go on.
Yeah, so I went down on Wednesday. I got there at 10 o'clock and I was there for fucking ages and ages and ages. And they took me into this room, and then this guy came out, this guy on his own in scrubs, I think they call them, don't they? He comes to look, and he has a look at me toe, and he says, we're going to have to keep you in. You're going to have a scan. We're going to have to keep you in. And I said, well, fucking hell. Fucking hospital again. Fucking same lad. I've lost my leg. I've just had this fucking dream not long ago. So I'm fucking sat here thinking, fuck me. Can I fucking see future or what? So there I am. Anyway, I go back into the day room and I'm waiting another probably 2 or 3 hours. And then they come to me and they say, we've got you a bed, Mr. Holmes. And by this time, I've sort of thought, well, look, my fucking foot's. You see, there's loads of shit going through my mind. I'm thinking, right, if they keep me in and they have to do something, they have to operate or something, I'm probably not going to get out. And on Monday, I've got my driving assessment. So,
okay.
If I can't do that, then they're going to revoke my license. So there's all this shit going through my mind, and there's all these. All this stuff going through my mind. I'm thinking, fucking hell! But I've resigned myself because I thought my foot's worth more. My leg, my only leg that I've got left, is worth more than my driving license. So no matter what they say, I'll fucking do. So I've got myself in that mindset where I know I'm going to be stopping in. I've texted my missus. My missus is having a great bad day at work anyway, and this just fucking piles on top of it when I say I've got to stop in. And so anyway, they get me this. They get me a bed and then they sit me on bed, and just to sit me on bed, all these consultants, you know how they come round. I don't know if you've been in a hospital and you see.
Oh, good, yeah.
And there's fucking 5 or 6 of them, and one of them's pulses on my leg, and other one they're flicking me fucking toes, see if they, if I feel them and all this sort of shit, and doing all this. And anyway, in the end, the guy who was obviously in charge said to me, the good news is you don't have to stop in. You don't need to do a scan, so you can go home. But he says, well, I'm going to book you an urgent scan. So, it was just like, but what I'm saying is that nobody were listening to me at any point throughout that. They were just having to go along a checklist. All the thinking and all the critical thinking that people have to do has been taken out of them. And then if they do use that, if they do use critical thinking, then they're usually penalised for it. It just seems to me that it goes into every single aspect of his lives. It's just everywhere. That you just can't. I've been crapping myself about his foot, and I now think I've got an infection, and that it's not ischemic at all. Because the rest of my leg is all warm and it's not cold. And believe me, I know about all this shit. But a few years ago, I think it was about 2010, I went to Mallorca. In fact, it was the first holiday that I went on with Danielle and kids. And they were a football pitch. They were an all-weather football pitch. And I played football on it, but I played in my bare feet. And I ended up with a really bad blister, which turned into an ulcer on the very toe that is, doing me head in now. I think it's just an infection. I think that because I've not been taking much care of this, I've had little scrapes on it, where the big toenails got a bit big and it's scraped outside. And I think that got infected. So I've got some antibiotics today. and hopefully they will clear it up. If not, then we have to look down the other route and see what can be done for if it's a scheme, which I really hope it's not. And maybe
Yeah, yeah.
I might lose a toe or something, but I don't mind that. I just don't it's. I think I've had enough, losing things that are hanging off my body. So.
Yeah, there are easier ways of losing fucking weight, I've got to say.
Well, yeah, I know. Also, like I said to one person who asked me what happened, as I said, um, I were a really intense magician, and I were doing a disappearing act that were going to last for a number of years until I eventually had all gone. But I don't think he appreciated that. And then there was the kid that I told that I were on a bouncy castle and it blew up and threw me into air because it were over full. And I lost my leg for that. So that kid's probably never going to go on a bouncy castle again. But, that might save his mum and dad a few, band-aids and twisted ankles and stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I often tell people that my thing on my leg, that big chunk of flesh that I've got missing on my leg because of the motorbike accident, I often tell them it's a shark bite. But, it's just, whatever. Yeah, hey, listen, there's a couple of other things, just quickies. Can you remember when me and you used to do well, of course you can. What am I fucking asking a question like that for? When we used to do at the Genting Club in Sheffield, and we used to have the meetings, and we got Tony on and various other speakers, and Rob, what's his name? From Chesterfield, what do you call him?
Rob Freeman.
Yeah, Rob Freeman. Yeah.
This goes out of my mind, mate. Right.
Yeah.
When you said Genting Club, I heard Scores.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of some of my misses because we were talking the other day when we were talking about you because we were talking about you because what you were getting up to and stuff. And I said, me and Aidan, I mentioned Scores, and she went, "Yeah, that won't happen now."
Is that what she said?
Yeah.
Yeah. You
You
wouldn't be allowed to work in a strip club anymore. Yeah. I'll tell you what, mate, we've done some shit. But anyway, yeah, when we used to do these meetings at the Genting Club, we used to get people on, and it got quite good. We were friends of UK Column, and we did a live stream with UK Column one night, didn't we? And we had about 40 or 50 people in for that. We showed unlawful killing. We showed unlawful killing and all that. But and I remember it. There was a group of people in for quite a number of them who came down from Leeds, and one guy used to come down from somewhere near Newcastle as well. But there's one guy who came from Leeds, and I found him quite fascinating because in a very sort of calm way, one thing he said to me was, everything that gives you hassle is what you ask for. So all you have to do is learn to stop asking. And I thought, right, okay. So it's like, you get hassle off the TV license, people, because at some time in the past you've asked for a TV license. So stop asking. So I fucked them off. And then you get hassle off the water people because at some point in the past you asked them to send you a bill. All they did was leave a leaflet through your letterbox which said "Dear Occupier," but you asked them. Insurances, you keep asking for it, to renew a license for it. Everything that gives us shit is what we ask for. Now, traditionally, when you come home after 3.5 weeks of being on holiday, you could expect a pile of mail like that, right? Now, I stopped asking for shit, I don't know, a few years ago, whatever. And I've got a notice on my door that says, hang on, I'm going to have to read this. I can't, not from this angle. Named and addressed mail only. a £250 charge will be made. Blah, 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 no exceptions, right? So I don't get any catalogues, I don't get any menus, I don't get shit, I don't get anything. And I came back off 3 weeks holiday to find, hang on a minute, a letter from the hospital for an appointment, my new SPAS badge, and a bank statement that I've not opened.
Is that because you didn't?
No, I know what's in it anyway. It doesn't matter. And that was it. That was it. That's my mail for 3.5 weeks.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Did you not get no like? Because the cancer research people, they're really, really generous. They give me a bin bag every so often.
No, I don't even get bin bags anymore.
Yeah.
No, I don't even get them.
Well, I think there's something wrong with me because I had Jovo's. Well, I don't know if it were before you went away. It must have been before. It must have been 4 weeks ago. I had Jovo's turn up on Saturday morning, and I said, "All right, then go on, go at me." And they went and they spoke to me, and they asked me to read a couple of things that they got, and they said, "We'll be back in a couple of weeks." And I haven't seen them since. So you're doing something right when you keep Jehovah's Witnesses away, don't you?
But the other thing that struck me today, bearing in mind, I don't particularly watch TV at home or whatever. If I happen to hear news or see it or whatever, it's on a customers when I'm at work. And I saw my brand new EE advert from with Kevin Bacon on it tonight in the last house that I was in for 5G. 5G being advertised by EE. And how they did it was there was a bunch of people in a living room, some of them wearing goggles, virtual reality goggles, watching a football match. So score a goal and it stood and went, yay! Took the goggles off and it's like, oh my God, it's just like you're really there. And then Kevin Bacon goes, there you go. There you go, EE, 5G. 5G from EE. Wankers.
He wants a fucking big fat cock shoving up his arse, doesn't he? That cunt. I mean, all these people, I saw Simon Cowell on a fucking advert the other day, and it weren't for outer is. And I thought to myself, what the fuck does he need any money for?
Oh, was it that Barclays card?
Maybe
pay your card off early calculator or something?
Oh, I don't know. That's Anton Dick, innit?
Oh, is it? I don't know.
Yeah, that's Anton Dick. No, but they were Simon Cowell on for an advert for someone. I thought to myself, he doesn't need. What does he need that money for? If someone comes, it's just beggars belief. Oh, we'll give you 300 million. He's never going to fucking spend it, is he? What's he going to spend it on? Sweets and prostitutes.
Yeah, when you said you thought I were doing origami, I was just looking at what time money I'd still got left.
Oh right, okay. Well, are you a millionaire?
Yeah, well, I've been. Yeah, I've been a millionaire.
Awesome, mate. This time,
in fact, hang on a minute.
This time,
be a millionaire.
This time, we're a millionaire.
Hang on a minute. 6 noughts divided by. Yeah, you only need 25 grand to be a millionaire.
Yeah, well, there you go then.
Well, only, like I fucking got to spare 25 grand. Not.
Yeah, you have, mate. Not many people have, and to be fair, well, if you have, I don't want it.
Yeah, it's just
responsibility.
Yeah, but they were the sort of things that I wanted to mention tonight. But yeah, the first 5G advert on TV that I saw, bit scary shit, mate. Scary shit.
Disturbing, but let's just see. I mean, there's been plenty of these scare stories about things. you know, and usually when there's these scary stories about things, and I'm not saying that 5G isn't a threat, but it can be used, and that it can't be used as a threat. But I'm just, I don't know. I just don't fucking know, because these people that are implementing it, that must know the dangers if they're planning to kill everybody, know that either their families are going to be affected by it, or themselves as well. You know, it just, that's, I don't know whether it's something that's been, and the Mark Steele thing, for me, it makes the drama that has unfolded has caused a lot more. You know, Anne-Marie
Yeah.
Carey, Annie Logical, and Mark Steele. It's generated more interest and more people are looking at it. But is that sort of? I don't know. Is it all manufactured? I just don't know. I really can't work it out, and it flummoxes me. But the reactions of both of them shocked me in different ways. The reaction I got from Annie and shocked me in a different way than the reaction I got from who's that? Who loves cocks up his arse? Lee Garrett.
Nosebleed. Yeah.
Garrett.
Yeah.
That's it. Lee Garrett. But I don't know which shocked me most. And you know, I'm trying to be here in middle. I'm trying to be the person that listens to both sides. You know, and do you know what the problem with listening to both sides and giving both sides a chance is that then everybody just fucking hates you because they associate you with the person that you fucking interview. You know, so you interviewed so and so. Look at fucking Garrett with this fucking rapist shit. He interviews rape. Show me a fucking rape charge. Show me somebody I've interviewed and show me their conviction for rape. If there is, I will fucking apologise. But no, you won't, because you're just going to go, oh, my fucking nose is bleeding, all the kids in my fucking area are fucking dead, the hair's falling out, they've got no fucking pubes yet, it's fucking terrible. Just fuck. Why? What the fuck is wrong with him? It seems like civilised conversation is dead, it's gone. It's fucking gone. And this has been done by mainstream. Look at what fucking you get battery out. What's it? Where they're chucking milkshakes over fucking these right wing people. So they're chucking milkshakes over them, not realising that actually just makes you look like you're coming on them, which means you must fucking fancy them, right? It does, doesn't it? And then you get this fat cunt fucking Joe Brand. Who says, well, why use milkshakes and not use battery acid? And fucking hell, just because you had battery acid fucking poured all over your face and that's why you look like that, don't mean to say that you should, you know, fucking make it. It's just the hypocrisy of it all. And do you know what? I've just found a match.
I didn't think they still made them.
I've just found a spent match in my coat pocket, and I've not bought a box of matches or used matches in about, I don't know, since I was at school. Since I bought a match from Joe's across the road from school for 8 pence.
I had something else I wanted to tell you, but I can't remember, mate, and it's just because my brain's mashed, because I'm still jet lagged. But
well, what about this? What about this?
Go on.
Right?
Go on.
There's this argument that's blown up. Now, granted, it's mostly in America, but it's talking about how the disparity between the pay for women's footballers and men's footballers, women footballers, men's footballers. So men obviously get paid fucking more because more people watch them. It's a better quality. It's it's the product that people want to watch. That's why they get paid so much. Yeah, women football. This was the USA team, right? The USA team, the women's footballers wanted to have the same pay as the men, because apparently they beat Thailand 13-0 last night, or one at night. They beat Thailand anyway. Well, I think there's a World Cup, a women's World Cup going on at the moment.
Right.
The USA beat Thailand 13-0. Now, that was used by obviously people that have got a fucking agenda. You know, they've all got this agenda. You know, when they say
Yeah.
equality, what they mean, especially in sport, in terms of when they say equality, they don't. They say they mean special privileges. It was just like when the tennis player at Wimbledon, when the tennis players, the women tennis players wanted the same prize money as the men tennis players, yet they didn't want to, which they got, by the way. They got the equality in the prize money, but in tennis, men play 5 sets and women play 3 sets. So, you know, technically somebody can win. They only have to play 3 sets, so they're not obviously not putting in as much. And also, there's no equality in there at all, because Serena Williams, the best female tennis player. And listen, I'm not dissing women's tennis. I love it when it's woman against woman. When it's, you know, when it's but this idea that they should be paid the same for less work doesn't smack to me to be equality. It seems to be having special privileges. You do less work and you're getting paid the same. And that's what we're trying to do with women's football. But, you know, in America, bear this in mind, right? The USA women's football team, they won 13-0 against Thailand women in the World Cup. I think it was yesterday or the day before. And this is when this all blew up. You know, where we won 13-0. So I don't think it's actually the players, to be fair. I think it's just these people that take these opportunities to try and stir up these hornets' nest. But saying like they should be paid the same as men. But we're talking about a team, and no disrespect to them, but this women's football, the national USA national football team lost 5-1 to a team of under 15-year-old boys. And they lost in Australia. They went to Australia, did a tour of Australia, doing some training, I don't know, but they lost 5-0 to 4-0. They lost 5-1 to the under 15s in America, and they lost 4-0 to an under 14s team. So we're talking about 13-year-old kids. You know, to say that the product is the same quality is just absolutely ridiculous and deserves the same remuneration. And also, the Women's World Cup, the Men's World Cup, the last World Cup and the last Women's World Cup, the last Women's World Cup the last Men's World Cup generated 54 times as much revenue worldwide as the Women's World Cup. And you know, if you say things like, if you point out the obvious, that obviously women aren't built the same, aren't as muscular as people like me. You know, I mean, look at me, look at these babies.
Yeah.
Look at these babies. I'd like to see any woman have one as big as that.
Stop doing a fat Bruce Willis fucking impression.
No, but generally, men are built more athletic and stronger, and so are going to excel in these events. But
unless you're called Fatima Whitbread, yeah.
And so what? So let's just take it a full cycle. So you've got women wanting equality to men, right? In prize money, regardless of product or or Endeavour or whatever you have to put in. They want the same prize money. Fine. Right, okay, fine. So what then happens is you get lots of inferior men athletes then going, well, if I shove 2 balloons up and, tell them I want to have me knob chopped off, I'll be able to compete in women's thing and I'll make just as much money as the top athletes in the men's. And because
he self-identifies as a man.
It's perpetual, isn't it? It's
yeah.
If he goes, he's not very good. He's not a very good runner or whatever. He's not a very good footballer, or he's not a very good. I don't know, fucking.
Well, it could actually be. It could actually be. Kicked out of the under-17s team, and think, I know, we beat them 34-0. So if I start to identify as a woman, I can be a member at national fucking women's team.
Yeah, that's right. Which then, right, if that progression continues, right, so that we allow, we've become so fucking liberal now and so tolerant. We are so tolerant. Fucking hell, fucking tolerant. People can't even be tolerant of the kids most of the fucking time. But we are so tolerant that. If somebody says that they're a woman, it don't matter whether they've got a fucking big beard and a fucking dick the size of fucking, a big fucking schlong, a big fucking salami thing. Don't matter. If they say they're a woman, they're a bird.
Well, there was a bloke who'd been convicted of rape, started to identify as a woman, and ended up staying in a women's prison, wasn't there?
Yeah,
that happened last year, and that was all over the news. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it was all over the news because whilst they were in the women's prison, what do you think he fucking did?
Yeah, he raped a woman.
That's right. But you know what? It's just fucking...
we might have interfered with his civil rights.
We haven't got no civil rights, has he? If you've committed a fucking rape, you're not civil, are you?
Well, exactly. Listen. I'm as if you don't know what I know about football, you could write on this because I know nothing.
Yeah, I know. The basic point was I was making.
No, I know, but what my point is, just hear me out a minute. Because what I know about football, you could write on that. I don't even know what the offside rule is. Don't want to, don't care, don't mean no, not into it. But the way I look at what you've just said, Jason, is just an addition, really, because I don't disagree with anything you've said. When you look at sport, like it or not, it's the entertainment industry because people are entertained by watching it. If people didn't get enjoyment from watching it, it wouldn't generate revenue. There would be no wage to pay. Okay? So ultimately, it's the entertainment industry. So whether it's entertainment given by men or women is irrelevant. What is relevant, is the amount of revenue that's created from that entertainment. So if you've got, like you quite rightly said, 54 times more money being generated, yeah? Mm-hmm. That's like a salesman working for me saying, I want the same pay as the guy who's the top in the country who does 54 times as much work as I do. Guess what he's going to get told? Fuck off.
Yeah.
Because
but then you can't. But then they can't because then they become like anti-feminist and misogynistic.
Yeah.
I mean, great one. What's the word? You know the word, don't you? For a woman that hates a man. I mean, misogyny is there. What's the other way around?
Cunt.
Misandry. It's called misandry.
Oh, is it? Right, okay.
Yeah, misandry. So that's the the hate of male boys. So, but you've heard the word misogyny, but you haven't heard the word misandry, and that's not women's fault. It's not feminists' fault. It's
No.
the manipulation that they've been subjected to that has led them down this road where they can't reason, they can't have a reasonable debate. You know, they have to scream like that fat cunt at fucking. I don't know if you saw that, but there were this bloke who was a Trump supporter when Trump came over to Britain. And he got this fat cunt in his face shouting, Nazi scum, Nazi scum, and that's all she was doing, and Nazi scum, and fucking having a rage go at him. Just, you know, that's all she could do. There were no debate, there were no, and that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with these people, and it's like all of it. And I'm not just talking about people who would be on the perceived left or the people that would be on the perceived right. I'm talking about all of them. They're all fucking idiots. We need to get the middle bit where we go, right, you've got some fucking ideas that are all right, and you've got some ideas that are all right. But, you know, we're not fucking good. It's like if I said, let's just say if I said, this is sort of argument you get, and you go, like I said earlier on, right? I went like that, and I went, I might have a Hitler tash.
Yeah.
Like somebody would use that against me and say, "Oh, you fucking agree with 6 million Jews being fucking murdered?" And I'd say, "Well, no, but you know, I don't agree with 6 million Jews being murdered because I don't think there were that many." Especially when there wasn't even that many in Europe at that time, never mind in Germany, but you know, or Poland. But you know, it don't even get that far. It goes Nazi. Fucking ridiculous people. Fucking grown up. Fuck up. Just fucking just say. Just. And you know, people can't talk to each other. I mean, I hate this, that people can't talk to each other candidly and just say. I remember, you know, Nige, I don't think he's going to be listening, so I think I'm all right telling you this.
Yeah, go on.
But when back, I think it was about 1999, you know, late 90s, I'd just got this, I'd set up a company, and we were doing, you know, stuff on the internet. We're an internet company. It were back in the early days. And I got this meeting up in Edinburgh. I got this meeting up in Edinburgh with this company that were going to provide me content for my website.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was going to provide them with content for their websites. And so I got this meeting, and I said to Eddie, I said, I've got to drive right up to Edinburgh, and then I'm going to come back after. And not Eddie, Nige. I said to Nige, I said, I've got this meeting, and I said, if you don't mind coming up with me, you might be able to drive some, because, you know, it's up to Edinburgh, and then it's a meeting, then it's back down. And so, anyway, I went to his house, picked him up, he got in the car, he got his suit on, and he fucking stunk. Absolutely fucking stunk. And I said to him, I says, you can't come to a meeting with me smelling like that. He says, what is it? And what he got these fucking like kestrels and owls in one of his rooms. All of these, you know, that perches that they sit on, and they've got like tethered things. And and it obviously stunk house out, and it stunk fucking all his clothes and everything out. He couldn't smell it because he was so used to it because he lived in it. And like, he gets in the car and it fucking stunk. I said, you're not coming to Edinburgh with me like that, no chance. And so I fucking booted him out. So, and I went on my own. But you see, you've got it. But me and Nigel to this day are still mates, right? That's the point. The point is, we're still mates, and we're still mates because now he realizes he stunk. People have said to me and told me not to do this or do that or whatever, and I took things on board. I always, like you said, Captain Cliche, every day's a school day. You have to learn about yourself. You have to learn about yourself. And you know what? You know when people say to you, oh, you fucking stink, or you fucking do that. They're not saying it. They want to offend you. Because I've just gone to pick him up in the morning. No, I didn't have to. I could have just left him at home. But I didn't pick him up and say, you stink, because I wanted to offend him. It's because he stunk. And I couldn't drive to Edinburgh. Can you imagine sitting next to somebody on fucking way to Edinburgh? See how I'm like that to me right hand side, like I'm driving a left hand drive car. You know what that is? It's because my memories are all in reverse, always in reverse, like a mirror image. So if I remember driving, I'm driving a left hand drive car.
Yeah. But you see, what you forgot was he'd have said to you, "Have you been busy?"
Yeah. Hey man, you go.
Sorry.
Oh.
Anyway, excuse me. Is anybody actually listening to us?
We've got quite a few listening to us. Justice for Ian Puddick. Grotesque. Dead animals. I don't know what these are. We talking about dead animals? Aminals. Animals? Aminals. Which one's right? I don't know. Case found offended. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Do you know what offended me about it is that he got this, and I went up a couple of times. He got this room with these birds in that it weren't right to tether them to a perch and have them just put there all fucking day and not be able to. I think that it should have just been. They should just be free. I'd just fucking set them free. But he used to do like these shows, you know, like do these shows where fucking bird would sit somewhere and he'd hold his arm up and bird would come and. I mean, what the fuck is that? What's to see a fucking bird fly from somewhere on someone's hand? You know they've been fucking told to do it. They're not doing it like going, oh, look at that hand. I love that hand. It's a great nice hand, that. I'm going to go and fucking stand on that one. They're not doing it for that, are they? They're doing it because they've been trained to do it. And if they don't do it, they don't get fucking fed. And because they've been held in captivity for so long, they probably can't even fucking hunt. So they won't last very long. So I don't, I don't like a lot. You know, all we animals.
Well, do you know in Thailand, there's apparently there's a lot of elephants that are orphaned or need to retire from being used in logging industries and things like that. And obviously a lot of tourists paid to go to these sanctuaries to look at these elephants and be close to them. And some people actually get in the watering holes and like swim or dunk in mud with elephants, especially in northern Thailand. And as much as I admire the size and the gentleness and the animal itself, the elephant, and as much as I'd love to get close to one like that, always in the back of my mind is, okay, these might be rescued, or you know, they might have been ill and brought into captivity for that. But a little part of me says, but what if they're actually in this place just so that tourists will come and look at them, and the people who look after them will get paid? Because, you know, they should just be allowed to just roam free, because that's what being a wild animal is, you know. It's kind of in the fucking title, isn't it? Wild. You know? And you can also go to these places where you can go in and you can pet a tiger, which I find quite fucking bizarre. But again, you know, are they in this so-called sanctuary because they need looking after, or are they in the sanctuary and bred in the sanctuary just so that tourists will come and part with money? But either way, I didn't go, wouldn't go, couldn't go, as much as I would actually love to sit and be close to such a marvelous animal as either a tiger or an elephant, especially the elephants. I find them fascinating, but you know, it's not something I can do because I don't want to encourage anything other than something living in the wild.
Well, if you were to have an experience with an animal like that, a tiger or a lion, and hopefully, probably we all won't, but if you
Yeah.
were to have an experience like that, you'd like it to be something that was, wild and real, and that tiger
Yeah.
would react to you in a way that that you'd react to it or whatever. I don't know, but I don't. If you get mauled or fucking whatever, you shouldn't even fucking be there, should you? But
Exactly.
but if you want to do that, I think that the only way really to do that is not to be. All right, it might be going through a jungle in Sri Lanka or somewhere like that, and in a vehicle that's got glass and all this stuff so that they get at you, but you want it to be in its own environment, don't you?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
So that if he wants to come towards you and have a go at you and have that that interaction, that it's its own choice and it's not been
That's right.
been forced to do it.
Yeah. That was the other thing that I saw on the telly today, or read on the news. How they'd got a deer was on a golf course, and it was causing havoc, and they had to get the people to chase the deer off the land, and I'm thinking, before some cunt built a fucking golf course on the deer's home, the deer fucking lived there, and then somebody came along, planted all this fucking grass seed, and then they complained that the deer is stopping their game of fucking a man chasing a white ball. Fucking get real.
A pointless pile of fucking shit. That's it. You're right. The fucking deer were there long before golf even existed.
Of course it was.
It were fucking before golf were a fucking itching its daddy's pants. It weren't. They were deer there forever. Probably,
yeah. Yeah. There's no wonder the fucking deer wants to be on that bloody piece of grass. It fucking were born there probably. But anyway, I just.
Well, it's right though, mate. It is. This is what we've got this property type mentality. It's all about what you've got. It's not who you are or what you do. It's all about what you've got. And I know there are good people that have got things. That have got decent amounts of money and are living well. I know there are decent people, but it's not about that. It's about how it's turned into that. I looked at. I was in Morrison's today, and I noticed that there's a donation basket for Gleadless Valley, which is just down the road from us here. If you don't know where Gleadless Valley is, if you watch This Is England, the film.
This Is England 2, it wasn't it? It was the second and third one that they filmed around here.
Yeah, the second and third. Yeah. Anyway, This Is England 2 and 3. Yeah. They filmed that in Gleadless Valley, so you'll see. But I was just saying to Danielle earlier on. I mean, this is what sort of depravity have we got in this? We're supposed to be a civilized society, and we're not. And people are so eager. Well, not eager. It's so easy for people to turn a blind eye, and people to think, well, that's not my problem. But then again, they've got problems of their own. How are you going to make the mortgage? People's problems depend on what sort of lifestyle they live. If you've got a bloke who's got a £1,600 a month mortgage, and he's falling behind on it. I mean, that's a huge problem to him. But to somebody that's having to go to food banks to feed the children that are living in maybe a bedsit or a small flat on the council and that, and are having to, not only are they having to go to food banks, it's also that now, because there's been a cap on benefits, they're probably having to contribute some to the rent on the place that they're at. And when the gear benefit, I'm on any, I get PIP, but my wife earns too much for me to get any unemployment or whatever it is these days, ESA or whatever. So I'm not in that, but I do know that there are people that they'll do anything to when you get an ESA, when you get what do they call it, an award? They call it they used to call it an award. I don't know if they do now. They call it award, and it said this is the minimum amount the government says you need to live on, and then they'll take 20 quid out of that to the Awards Council because the housing benefit don't cover it, and so now you're going below that line, and the law says that you need to live on.
Yep, it's madness. You just said problems. That's just reminded me of something. I know it sounds like I've got loads of money, and listen, I ain't. A flight out to Thailand is 370 quid. And where I stay, which is really, really nice, is 20 quid a night. And you can stay in other places that are half of that price that are still nice. So it's not an expensive place to go. Anyway, most mornings I'd sort of get up and, a bit of breakfast and a cup of coffee and then go down to the pool for an hour just to have not a swim, or a bob up and down and a chat to anybody who might be in there. And almost every day there was this guy who managed to put his sun lounger at the top of the stairs, the steps out of the pool, where people would get out to go to the only toilet at that end of the pool, right? And every time somebody used the stairs, he'd sort of sit up and look startled and, what are you doing near my space sort of attitude. And he was a little guy, I don't know, 5'5", 5'6". He was low in stature. But he was also looked like he'd spent half his life in a gym. Right, so he's obviously got serious little man syndrome. And every time somebody used the stairs and got out, sit up. So he said to me, he went, "What's your bruv?" No, what's your problem, bruv? So I said, "Problems? I've got lots of those." I said, "But being your bruv and your paranoia don't even make the fucking list, mate." And he just looked at me and laid back down on his sun lounger. And I just thought, what a cock. What a cock.
You were looking down your pants at that time then?
No, I was thinking he was a cock.
What a cock.
What a cock.
Can you imagine it? What a cock. Fucking hell, the cock award. The Adari cock award goes to my cock.
Yeah, and do you know, seriously, when you're over there, you've got to go to a foreign country with the attitude of, you're in a foreign country. So if the law says that you've got to walk backwards, that's what you've got to do. Now, I can disagree with as many rules, regulations, laws, statutes, acts, whatever, as I fucking want in England. Because guess who were born here? I were fucking born here. It don't matter what colour I am, don't matter what religion I think I might have or what. I were fucking born here. So anything that affects my life directly in a country where I was born, I can have an opinion of, I'll voice the fucker, and I'll tell you why you're wrong. And if you can prove me wrong, I'll listen to you. But when you go to another country, you do what is law in their country. Because, if you don't, when you're over there, you end up in the fucking prison. And if you've got nobody to bring you food or water, you die. And that is seriously how it works out there. And I don't have a problem with that. I do not have a problem with that. Because when you go to another country, you should live by their rules. Because it's their country, it's not yours.
Can you imagine, Wade? Can you imagine? Just give a second. But can you imagine if they implemented the shit that they've implemented over here? So that the term "ladyboy" was offensive, and you had to call them gender confused. Would that work? Would there be much call for that?
Let me explain, right? For anybody who's never been, the most beautiful girls in Thailand aren't.
They're not in Thailand, you mean?
No, they're not girls.
Yeah,
They're ladyboys. Okay, and a lot of the girls will say, you know, oh yeah, ladyboys, and they admire them because, you know, a lot of them are beautiful, and if you saw some of them and didn't know, you would go, bloody hell, I wouldn't mind, you know, spending half an hour with that. And then when somebody goes, mate, it's a ladyboy, you go, what? Now, after probably 11 o'clock at night on a road called Soi Buakhao, in Pattaya, when you can walk up that road, and it's a bit like running the gauntlet, because not even on every corner, but every 20 yards, there's a ladyboy who would dearly like you to pay them money to take them back to your room. And I think they hope partly that because you're that drunk, you'll not realise it's a ladyboy and you'll take them back anyway. So I'm always dead pleasant to them. And in Thai, mai or maiao means no or no thanks. And if you're a man and you say maiao, you would finish it off with the word kap or karap if you're in northern Thailand. And all it means is, you know, no thank you very much, in a very pleasant and free way, you know, hope your night goes well sort of thing. It's just a very non-offensive, no thank you, right? But it didn't matter what I did, this fucker were following me up the road, right? And I have to say, he looked fucking great. I mean, he really looked good, right? And it's not my bag. And there are some blokes who go over there to experience that. And if that's why they want to go, then, you know, that's what they do. Who am I to judge? It's, you know, it's what they want to do. But this one kept getting a bit pushy, and I'm going, my cap, you know, no thank you, no thank you. And then he just stood there and he sort of stamped in his high heels and went, why? And I said, because I've already got a cock. If I want to play with a cock, I've fucking got one. You know, I don't need two. I've already got one to play with. And I haven't got a problem with anal sex, but I don't want a pair of bollocks hanging under what I'm playing with.
You know, listen, what you're doing now is you're like overcompensating. You could have just said a lady boy. You know what I mean? That's all you got to say. You just said, I didn't shag a lady boy. People are going to make their own mind up anyway, whether you did or you didn't.
Yeah.
Only you know. So, that you know, it's between you and yourself. No, listen, I couldn't care less whether you had or you hadn't. You're still my mate. You're my only mate now. Everyone else fucking abandoned me everywhere. So,
well.
Yeah.
But no, you know,
go on.
But seriously, you're right in what you said. What would happen in Thailand is if they try and said, oh, you know, they're going to be, what did you say, gender confused? It's just listen, it's Thai. But it doesn't happen everywhere, and who are we to bloody judge? You know,
just think about the phrases that have caught on in this country that people have used. The phrases that have obviously been stuck there, and they've been like sort of. God, I just looked at me and I thought I look like George Michael.
No, you don't.
No.
What, you mean dead?
But can you imagine? Because these things have been. Just think about the phrases that have been imposed upon us, and they've been imposed upon us by the media, and then they've took root and what have you, like credit crunch. Remember that, the credit crunch? Yeah. That took hold. It didn't really mean it just like said credit and crunch, and People thought you were a crunchy that you could get on credit, around a corner shop, at Abdul's. You might get a crunchy on credit, if you've got munchies and your gyro's due at morning, you might do that. These are things that are genuine things, but I don't think it warranted being in the Oxford English Dictionary. Now, can you imagine that that in Thailand people would change? I don't know what the word in Thai is for ladyboy, but can you imagine if that would take hold if they said gender confused?
The Thai people won't put up with that. It's just there is no logic. I'm going to repeat. There were some Thai words used, but I'm going to repeat a conversation that happened to me in a market in Thailand. Okay, a market that I've been into many times. I think I bought this shirt in there last year or the year before, and I went up to the guy and I said, "How much for the shirts?" 600 baht. Sorry, am I talking about 300 baht? Which is like 7 quid. What if I buy two? Oh, 250 baht, which is about, obviously it's cheap. Anyway, there's 40 baht to a quid. There's 40 baht to a pound, roughly speaking. So I said, what if I buy four? And basically the price, I still can't believe it. The price went up basically to a tenner each. And I went, pardon? He said, £10 each. And I'm like, why? Because I'll sell out, and that means I'll have to drive up to Bangkok to buy some more stock. Now that seriously is Thai logic.
Yeah,
seriously is Thai logic.
I've heard that story before. I think you told that just before you went, so now we've doubled it up. So it's, I think you did tell that just before you went.
It's just that's how they are.
Yeah, it's just a weird. It's a weird, and like you say. Now, people would say that in Thailand it's a more brutal regime than we've got in this country. So, if you get caught with drugs or anything, you're in prison for. We've all heard stories for life.
Yeah.
You're never getting out.
No, you're not.
And yet the imposition of that jackboot, if you will, doesn't really apply to local citizens. There's not all this legislation that's there that prevents people from doing things, and people are pretty much, if they get a business, they buy a place, they can run that place, and they'll probably get some taxes from local government, but pretty much there's not like you. There's, it's not so tied down. It's not so restrictive.
The easiest way to explain it is even the corruption is open and above board.
Yeah, you were telling me when you were caught vaping, because vaping's illegal, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't vape anymore, but there was a guy who on Beach Road sat there puffing away on his vapey thing. Copper stops on a bike and basically fined him 125 quid on the spot. Now that money isn't going anywhere near a police station; it's going straight in the copper's pocket. But that's just what's expected in Thailand.
I've got a question. From Charlotte in the chat room, and she says, "Did Aid get to go to Koh Phi or PHI beach, or was it or whatever it's called?"
No, it's that's one of the KOH. Basically, is an island. Anything KOH is an island. The kind of whatever name, but no. And the reason is because I've got a shitty leg that don't walk very well. When you go on a boat trip to somewhere like an island, you can guarantee when you get off at the other end, to see anything, you're gonna have to fucking walk a long way. So I tend not to. And it does restrict what I see, but it's just kind of part of life now. But no, I didn't. But it is something I have looked at. It is something I've looked at, but I've never done it. No, I haven't.
So when you're going back?
I'm hoping to get back August, September, something like that. Something like that. Yeah, it's.
What are you hoping to go back for good?
I would love to say within 18 months, definitely 2 years. Things to work out at the moment is, at the moment you're getting just less than 40 baht, BAHT, baht to the pound. 39.65. When I first got there, you were getting just over 40. I was talking to a guy who's lived there for about 30 years, and he said when he first went, you were getting 74 baht to the pound. So, you know, their currency is getting stronger and stronger, and ours is getting weaker and weaker. There's a lot of prediction that before Christmas, it'll get to 35 baht to the pound. So what you've got to then look at is any monies that I've got to provide income for my retirement. They're going to be based on the Thai baht and how much I can get for it with my English pound. But when we've got 650 of the most useless wankers ever to be fucking voted for, sat in Westminster, who've done absolutely fuck all for 3 years, other than try to get out of Europe, because what they want is a one world government, a one world army, a one world religion, and a one world currency. You know, what fucking chance has anybody got to make plans? So at the moment, I don't know, but a lot of it is down to what happens with money that we both know don't fucking exist.
Well, listen, I wanted to just give my perspective. I've got you on, obviously, my friend who won't be friends list on Facebook. She's not on Facebook, but there was another guy who was on my Facebook list, and he was posting images, and he'd been up to into Thailand, and he'd been, I can't remember where he'd been. But you know, posting these pictures, and he was saying that's fucking brilliant. Now, the point I'm trying to make is how long before, because they seem to have exhausted everywhere else, you know, from Blackpool to fucking Benidorm, it's all become like an automated, almost, you could almost predict which stores or restaurants you're going to see going down the high streets. And then how long before it reaches there? Because I think I do feel, I remember being in, I lived in Dubai in 1990, and I could buy 200 fags for 6 dirhams from Safeways, which were on corner.
Fucking hell.
6 dirhams were like a quid. So I could buy 200 silk cup for a quid. That were in 1990 in Dubai. I can't imagine that now. I mean,
no.
In Dubai is completely different. Do you think that's what's going to happen with the Far East places such as Thailand and I know there's a lot of there's a lot of great places I'd love to visit, but you know, do you think that's what's going to happen?
I mean, there's some McDonald's in Pattaya. There's Starbucks, but if I tell you how expensive Starbucks is, if you got a street vendor to make you a Thai iced tea, which is basically tea poured onto ice with some carnation milk topped on top, sounds fucking horrible, but I'm telling you, it tastes gorgeous. It's 20 baht, about 50p. If you go into Starbucks, you're going to pay, what, for one of their iced drinks? I don't know. What are they, a couple of quid? I don't know. So you've always got that sort of street vendor price to Starbucks price. I wanted some coffee, you know, coffee beans ground up and whatever. And I just picked them up off the shelf in Starbucks because I couldn't find anywhere else to buy them. Went in and said, "Would you grind me these, please?" Told him it was for a filter coffee machine. And when I got the bill, it was 14 quid. Fucking 14 quid for a little bag of coffee to put in my percolator. I nearly fucking died. But so there are the big brandy names starting to get there. You don't really see Thai people in them. There are some people who go to McDonald's, Thai people and English, but not many. There's a Subway. There is a Subway, but I've never seen more than one or two people in it at a time. Ever.
Well, what I'm trying to say is, Ada, is that in 1990 I lived in Dubai for about 18 months, and then it was a place where it was just everything were. I were a DJ in a. I'd been taken. I'd been plucked out of England, and because I were a club DJ, and I'd been put into this place, and I was supposed to turn this bar. That bear in mind, it were just after first Gulf War, and there were a lot of American ships that came in, and this place that I was put in was it was a country and western bar originally, right? And so they wanted me to turn it into just a regular bar, into a bar like an English club type thing. And so it were okay until these big fucking warships came in. And then you got all these fucking rednecks coming in and wanting to kick me ass because I won't play fucking Hank Williams Jr. or fucking, I don't know, some fucking sort of shit. But it was, I can't imagine now that if I got that same job in Dubai now, I would be paid the same amount of money because I were paid £1,000 a week, and I worked 6 nights a week, but I was a DJ and I worked with a band as well. So they were a band that will play, 2 45-minute spots. That's an hour and a half out of your night. And so, I'm getting paid £1,000 a week to do this. The club were called. If anybody wants to know, if everybody wants to look it up, the place was called Sheriff's. It was. I think it's now called Snake Eyes, and I think it's now synonymous for prostitutes. But back then it wasn't. It was a country and western bar. It was called Sheriff's, and it's behind the Dubai Metropolitan Hotel on the Abu Dhabi Road. And honestly, I took so much fucking shit from all those people. So, but I got paid so much money. But it seemed what I'm trying to say is, I think, is that from 1990, when shit were fucking cheap in Dubai, and I got an apartment with a villa, with a pool, and we got a houseboy, we called them. Essentially, they were a slave, and that was something else that really fucking eked on me as well. I used to give him some money and say, "Go and buy me." Yeah, I used to I'd ask him to go and get me 200 fags from Safeways, which were just up on corner, and he'd come back, and it cost me a dirham for him, and I gave him all the rest of the money, and he thought, because I give him 10 dirhams, I said, no, you keep that, it's for you, and it would just, I don't see that continuing. It didn't continue. I don't suppose that happens now. And I don't know, is that something that's creeping across? Is this what we call, this boom and bust thing? Is it something that creeps, and I mean, ever so slowly across the world? So get into where us in Britain are in destitute and what have you, and then all the money is then gone, right, and it sort of goes. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, really, but.
I think it's just the cancer of westernization creeps across the world, like you say, and it's just I think the westernization takes away the true value of something, because the true value of something is how it makes somebody feel or what it does for somebody, not how many shekels, dirhams, Thai baht, pounds, dollars, or whatever it's worth. You know, 'cause all money is a way of storing the fruits of your labour. That is what money is. And so, you know, you're right. I think it's almost the, what would you call it, naivety of a country is lost as soon as the Western way of living hits that country.
Yeah, I mean, there were. Don't get me wrong. Back then, like I said, there were Safeways which were on my corner. But what's really stuck out for me is that now I don't know if people know the history, and they might be able to see some history that might be different to what I'm going to tell you. But this is what I was told, and I lived here. Right, so we've got two Emirate. We've got Emirate. You got the United Arab Emirates.
Mm.
I can't remember how many there are, but I visited 3. I went to Abu Dhabi. I lived in Dubai, but this was the Western thing that really stuck out for me. It's sort of like it were like, are you counting money again?
Sorry.
Well, stop it. Just because you're rich, you know, you don't have to count your money. You're not dinny, you know. Yeah, so we were a bit. We went from Dubai into Sharjah. Now, Dubai and Sharjah are 2 different emirates, and Dubai is Dubai for the reason it is Dubai now. You know, for the way that Dubai is now is because of this particular incident. When the British came over and started searching for oil and stuff and found oil, they said, "Listen, this is your oil." And there were 2 tribes. There were the Dubai tribe, and there were Sharjah tribe. And they said, "Look, this is." The British came and to the Jews, they said, "This is your oil, it's your stuff." And so these 2 tribes started fighting each other. Anyway, the Dubai royal family were having a royal wedding, and they invited, as a peace offering, to try and, you know, sort things out. They invited the Sharjah royal family over to come to the wedding. Oh no, sorry, it was the other way around. The Sharjah tribe were having a royal wedding, and they invited the Dubai royals over as a goodwill gesture. But the Dubai royals went over there and they got fucking machine guns under the dish dash that was supplied by British, and they just fucking wiped them all out. And that was it. That's why Dubai got all the oil rights, and Sharjah ended up is like it was just it's a regular emirate. It's not Abu Dhabi, and it's because Abu Dhabi is the capital, and it's not Dubai. It's just there. Now, when I was there, so that happened years. I think no, in the 70s that happened. When I was there in the 90s, in 1990, we were in Dubai, and when somebody said to us, "By the way, I'm 20 years old, so bear in mind this before you start going, oh, you fucking shouldn't have done that." Someone said, "Do you want to go to a public execution?" And I said, we all said, "Yeah, let's go, you know, bravado, yeah, group of we." And we drove, and there's this one road between Dubai and the execution going on in Sharjah. And there was this one road that went between, I think it was about 60 miles. And there was nothing on this. It was desert on both sides. So you're going along this road, and it's just desert on both sides. Apart from when you're halfway there, fucking KFC in the middle. A KFC sat in the fucking middle.
ridiculous, isn't it?
And we went to KFC. We had a KFC. Then we went to Sharjah, and then we saw public executions, which weren't nice. And,
No, it's not something I could do, I'm afraid.
well, I didn't really. I was 20. I didn't
Yeah,
realise. I didn't know what sort of effect it would have on me. I'm thinking, I was a dickhead. I was a wanker. Like what I am now, only less. Oh, sorry.
Oh, that was the other thing. While I were over there, got talking to a guy in a bar like you do, and he was a pilot, and he were flying for Qantas, but he used to work for Emirates, and he said, "Oh, A380s, and they're God knows how many $1 million each." He said. I just said to him, how many hours have you got in? And it was something like 18,000 or whatever. And apparently a very well-seasoned pilot would retire with about 22 to 25,000 hours, apparently. Anyway, I said to him, these A380s, and he went, oh, he said, when I worked for Emirates, he said, they were getting a brand new A380 every week, one a week. He said, and they all have numbers, so they're like A, B, C, D. And when they run out of the letters, they go A, B, B, C, C, D, D. He said, in my logbook, I looked at it once, and it was like this aircraft he was flying was something like E, D, A, C. They got that many of the bloody things. He says, I couldn't even work out whereabouts they'd actually bought this aircraft and how old it was. I didn't have a clue. He said, because that's how much money they were spending on aircraft all the time. Just literally one a week. But then the scary thing, he said, now wouldn't you think that a brand new aircraft, he said, one got delivered and it had got, and I forget how many hours, but basically meant it had just been delivered. And he was the first person to fly it as a commercial flight. And he said, I bloody hate flying new ones. I said, why is that? He says, well, the first thing they do when they get a brand new aircraft is take 2 of the engines off and swap them for 2 older ones. What? Why would they do that? And apparently, and this makes sense, I guess, if you've got an aircraft that's got 4 engines that are exactly the same age and one blows a gasket, the chances are that the other 3 are also close to blowing the same gasket. But if you've got 2 brand new engines and 2 older engines on an aircraft, the chances of all 4 engines blowing that gasket are not a lot. You might have 2 of them. So, I guess as redundancy or whatever you'd call it, makes a lot of sense. But then he said, you get these brand new A380 aircraft that are delivered to Emirates, supposedly the best airliner in the world and biggest airliner and the best airline company and whatever. And he said, you can guarantee that you want it to do something simple like turn on the auxiliary power unit at the back just to power the electrics, and it won't turn on because the function button on the computer don't work. He says they've all got gremlins in them, and until they've done a couple of 1,000 hours, we all hated flying them. Anything new, we all hated flying the new ones. But it's not like it's like the ashtray's full, is it?
No, it's fucking mad, isn't it? It's mad. Well, listen, I were on. We did when me and Andy were doing this show a couple of years ago. And if someone wants to find it, you get in touch with me and go, ooh, and I'll show you. But we were talking to somebody who was in the finance system, in the finance game, and I asked him what would the consequences be, and this is, by the way, must be 2 years ago. Must be 2 years ago. What would be the consequences of having Trump and Boris Johnson as leaders of the 2 biggest economies? What do you think they're going to do? I just don't get this. I said that. I said, what? and this was before. This was when Obama was still in, and he said it's the CIA report. CIA report, Sirius report. I call it CIA report because I thought you were CIA, and you were telling us what was going to happen. But have a look at that Sirius report. You can find Raconteurs news of them back in 20. When they have my heart attack, 2015, 2016. So in 2016, just have a look at some of them interviews, have a listen to him, and he tells us, and I say to him, what about the proposition that we could have a situation where we've got Boris Johnson as Prime Minister and we've got Donald Trump as president? I mean, for fuck's sake, it's Donald Trump looks like one of them things off at fucking Muppets, right? And you know what?
Yeah.
I like a lot of what Donald Trump's done, but it don't take away from the fact that it's all just a huge fucking game that we're playing. So now we've got fucking Boris Johnson. Jesus Christ, for fuck's sake. If you can't see that this is a game, it's a scripted game. The people... Imagine you're in a game, right? And the people that have got the power and all that, and you know that they're playing the game as well. They're playing it so that they can hang on to what they've got, and you're trying to claw your way back up. You're trying to claw your way towards some sort of semblance of truth to bring them down. That's what it is. It's a game. It's nothing more.
I've said on here loads of times that government only exists between your ears. And if ever there was a time for people to realise that that's true, because we haven't got 650 of the most useless wankers in the world running the government. What we've got is 650 of the most useless wankers in the world who thought they were running the government, but have found out that actually what they say means fuck all, because they're not the ones in real power. Right? And if you think that, here we go, leader of the free world, what a fucking useless statement is that? Either you're being led or you're free. It's an oxymoron, it can't be both. But if anybody ever thinks that George W. Bush Jr. could fucking fart and wipe his own arse, let alone run a fucking government, then, well, he's just fucking one, was he? He was in charge of jack shit, is what he was in charge of, because he's been told what to do. Then you get Trump, who's supposed to be some kind of, I don't know, renegade sort of character who's going to come along and show the rest of the world what exactly a president should do, and he's going to give people back all that. Is he fuck? He's going to do what he's told to do by the Rothschild family, because they're in charge and he fucking isn't. You know, if ever there was a time for people to realise that this whole government thing is just a load of shit, it's now. And even, let's imagine for 1 minute that we believe in this government thing. I'm going to use a sporting analogy, which isn't like me. I do understand that in cricket, if towards the end of the day of a test match, you have a really good batsman that's bowled out or whatever it is, right? And there's only, say, 20 minutes or half an hour's play, that you put in a night watchman. In other words, a shit batsman that you don't mind if he's out first thing next morning. You wouldn't put one of your best batsmen in. So whoever's going to be the next Prime Minister is nothing more than a night watchman who's going to be here today and gone tomorrow, just like all the fucking rest of them.
Yeah, completely agree, mate. I completely agree. Listen, we've only had 7 thumbs up tonight. I mean, give us a thumbs up, give us a thumbs down. Who cares? Just have an opinion. Just say what you want to say, and that's what we're about. We're not about fucking suppressing opinions. We're not about, and you know, people will go, oh, you've covered this issue, so I'm not going to fucking talk to you. Well, that's a get out of fucking. That's a card that's like get out of fucking being a faggot card. So, well, isn't it? It's getting out.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to come on your show, because if I come on your show, you're going to debate me and you're going to you're just gonna like fucking beat me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call you anti-Semitic or I'm gonna call you homophobic for saying faggot because I did say faggot, and we faggots and peas loads and loads of times, and nobody called me homophobic for that. It is just a complete fucking wanky waste with most of the shit that's going on. It's just I wanted to say something. I had something. I can't fucking remember what it is. Let me have a look.
Mate. Right, listen, mate. I'm fucking dying here. I'm completely shagged. I'm jet lagged to fuck. What time? 11:10. No, yeah, 11. Oh, fucking hell. I'm fucking flagging. I need to go get some sleep, mate.
Yeah, no, yeah. Get yourself. Go and have yourself a nice little. Go and have yourself a sleep.
Asleep.
A sleep, man. I think you need it. You've been fucking. You've been working for like 3.5 weeks.
Asleep. Sleep.
So, all right. Well, listen. We're going to wrap this up now. I had something to say. I can't fucking remember what it was. I've had a few drinks. I've had a joint, and I've had a good time. And what I wanted to say, just at the last very minute, what I wanted to say was that yesterday Paul decided that he was going to use Raconteurs news page to.
Sorry, you did?
Paul Webster.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Paul was since Paul left Raconteurs News. I've not removed him as an admin on the Facebook site because I didn't really think there were any need to, really, because I thought that we all were on the same page and agreeing with everything. But yesterday he decided that he was going to plug his own show on Raconteurs News, so it looked as though, because I'm the face of Raconteurs News now, I'm on the only one left. May well be an AD, but it obviously weren't AD. It looked like Raconteurs News was plugging it. Now, I had no problem with plugging Webby's show. I would have done it myself if he'd have asked me, but he didn't. He just went on, saw that he was still admin and that I'd not got rid of him, and not got rid of him, but not deleted him from admin. And he decided to plug it himself. So that I just thought was just a little bit dishonourable, and I didn't really like it, and I thought it was a little bit below the belt. But we go on and we go upwards. Adi, last word to you, mate. Let's go.
Yeah. The only thing in life that's really important is a smile on your face. Everything else comes after.
Exactly, mate. Anyway, listen, thanks to everybody that's joined us tonight. It's been a bit of an experiment. I've been doing some new stuff with this new camera thing that's going on over here, and I've been messing about with it all day. Adie's knackered, obviously jet lagged. He's obviously been hanging out of the back of too many lady boys, and he needs to get his beauty sleep, and he needs it. So we'll be back Monday and Tuesday this week for definite. Monday and Tuesday from 7 o'clock, and we'll have some great guests as well. Well, I hope we will, but if we don't, we'll have Watson. So and
We will.
let's face it, he's gonna speak more sense than most people. Cheers, thanks everybody. Enjoy.
See you later, guys.
Don't hurt anybody.
Easy.